replay loop thinker. The actual conversation ended at 5 p.m., but at 11 p.m. in the shower, their brain is still holding a full-blown trial. They rewind and replay every single sentence, every slight frown, every tiny clearing of the throat from the other person. A completely normal, yeah, whatever, gets dissected in their head into 10 layers of hidden meaning. Did they say that because they're mad? Was my laugh too awkward back there? Their brain acts like a toxic film editor, constantly dubbing in dramatic background music and inserting negative details that never actually existed into a perfectly ordinary moment. The most exhausting part is that this trial never reaches a verdict, yet they still can't hit the stop button. If you've ever lain awake at 2 a.m. just to beat yourself up over a slip of the tongue from last month, then you are a VIP member of this club. 2. The message analyzer. For this type of person, a text message is never just words on a screen. It's a Da Vinci Code cipher that desperately needs cracking. They can stare at their screen for 15 minutes straight just to analyze the distinct differences between okay, okay, and okay. If the other person usually replies in 2 minutes, but today it takes them 10, their brain has already drafted a full script for the collapse of the relationship. A period at the end of a sentence is viewed as cold hostility, while a smiley face emoji is heavily suspected of being sarcastic. Instead of just reading the literal content, they drain their own energy, searching for hidden implications manufactured by their own imagination, turning texting from a tool for connection into a psychological minefield. If you've ever typed and deleted a text message 5 times just to make absolutely sure the other person wouldn't misunderstand you, definitely see yourself right here. 3. The future catastrophizer. Their mind possesses a superhuman ability, turning a tiny ripple into an apocalyptic tsunami. Triggered by just the smallest starting event, for example, the boss calling them into the office for a private chat, they immediately activate the absolute worst-case scenario sequence. Within exactly 3 seconds, their brain leaps from, maybe the boss is giving feedback on the project, to, I'm about to get fired, mom, to, I won't be able to pay my rent, and finally arriving at, I'm going to be homeless. They completely bypass steps A, B, and C and jump straight to Z, the most tragic ending possible. They aren't necessarily pessimists. They are just obsessed with mentally preparing themselves for every single risk, accidentally crushing themselves under the weight of a terrible future that hasn't even happened. If you've ever thought about trying a new haircut, but backed out because you were terrified people would laugh and you'd lose your confidence for the rest of your life, this is exactly how your brain is operating. 4. The perfection loop planner. They crave action, but they are imprisoned by the illusion of absolute perfection. Before actually starting any task, they will buy 5 new notebooks, create 3 different Excel spreadsheets, and watch dozens of tutorial videos. Every plan is meticulously sketched out down to the very last comma, but they never actually begin. Because every single time they're about to take a step, that little voice in their head echoes, what if it's not good enough yet? Just wait a little longer to research this more thoroughly. Preparation becomes a warm, cozy blanket they use to hide from the fear of failing on their first attempt. As a result, they are forever stuck at the starting line, completely exhausted from having run a full marathon entirely in their mind. If your personal project has been stuck in the brainstorming phase for the last 6 months, you deeply relate to this feeling. 5. The past regret holder. Their physical body is in the present, but their mental residency is permanently registered in the past. A wrong decision from many years ago is still constantly dragged out, dusted off, and used to torment themselves every single day. They endlessly chew on questions like, if only I had been braver back then. If I had chosen a different major that day, I'd be rich by now. They simply cannot forgive their past self for not possessing the wisdom of their present self. Clinging tightly to those what should have happened scenarios makes them completely blind to the opportunities right in front of them, constantly paying emotional rent for a place they moved out of a long time ago. If you frequently catch yourself suddenly sighing on a random Tuesday afternoon, just because you're regretting a missed opportunity from 2019, you are a true prisoner of the past. 6. The opinion overweight. They possess an incredibly sensitive psychological radar, but unfortunately it's constantly triggering false alarms. A passing glance from a coworker, a slightly faded smile from a waiter, or someone liking their post a bit too late is more than enough to keep them brooding all day long. They live as if there is an invisible panel of judges surrounding them, constantly scoring every single move they make. This forces them to continuously twist and mold themselves just to fit into what they think other people are thinking. During a conversation, they get exhausted, not from talking too much, but from having to split their brain in half, one half to interact and the other half to intensely scan the other person's reactions. If you've ever abandoned a personal hobby simply because you were terrified of people looking at you and judging, then you are carrying the weight of the entire world on your shoulders. 7. The decision freezer. When forced to stand at a crossroads, their internal operating system immediately crashes and freezes. Even the most trivial things like choosing a dish from a menu or deciding which color shirt to buy are elevated into a matter of national strategic importance. They will absolutely tear through reviews, weigh the pros and cons, and analyze the cost-benefit ratio from a dozen different angles. It starts out as just being careful, but when the volume of incoming information gets too massive, it morphs into full-blown analysis paralysis. They are so utterly terrified of making the wrong decision that they'd rather stand perfectly still and take the hit than take a step forward and risk regretting it. If you've ever stood frozen in the supermarket aisle for 15 minutes just agonizing over 2 bottles of body wash, that smell almost exactly the same welcome to this exact personality type. 8. The what-if spiral. They finally manage to make a decision, but the battle doesn't stop there. The exact second they lock in option A, their brain instantly begins mourning the tragic loss of option B. They'll be eating their bowl of noodles, but their eyes are glancing over at the pork chop plate of the person next to them, whispering to themselves, "I knew I should have ordered the pork chop." They have a highly sophisticated habit of self-sabotaging their own joy, constantly fantasizing about a ghost ship of missed choices, which only serves to make the current ship they are sailing on feel cramped and boring. They can never fully enjoy the present moment because their mind is busy traveling through a parallel universe. If your very first reaction after paying for an item is scrolling the internet to see if anywhere else sells it cheaper, you are the absolute embodiment of this thought process. 9. The silent assumer. They possess a wildly vivid imagination, but they use it purely to torture themselves. Instead of just opening their mouth and asking a direct question to solve the problem, they silently gather faint clues and patch them together into a complete fabricated storyline. For instance, if a friend is looking a bit quiet, instead of just asking, "Are you tired?" they overthink it into, "I probably said something wrong yesterday and now they're mad at me. Fine, I'll just ignore them back." They transform completely unverified assumptions into an undeniable truth in their head, and then proceed to hurt their own feelings and get mad over a script they directed entirely by themselves. If you've ever given someone the silent treatment over a mistake that they only committed inside your own imagination, you really need to watch out for this habit. 10. The non-stop thinker. This is the ultimate highest realm of overthinking. Their mind is exactly like an internet browser, with 100 tabs open at the same time. Every single tab is playing a video, and they have absolutely no idea where the music is coming from. A simple thought about what to eat for lunch today can drag them all the way into deep anxiety over global climate change in just 5 minutes flat. Even when they lie down in bed and close their eyes, their brain hosts a massive martial arts tournament, dragging every single thing from the past, present, and future out to be sliced and diced. To them, silence is a deafeningly loud noise. The scariest part is they are so used to this state that they consider this massive cognitive overload to be just a normal pace of life. If to you, relaxing simply means lying physically motionless while your brain is still sprinting a full 26-mile marathon, then your system is desperately crying out for help. So what about you? Out of these 10 neuron-draining types of overthinkers, which mode do you find your brain automatically switching into the most? Or even more painfully? Did you just flinch, realizing you're a full combo of all 10? Let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to tag that one friend who overthinks the entire universe, just to let them know they are absolutely not alone.